So I wanted to walk you through a demo of Riplane, a workflow intelligence layer that sits on top of your project management tools and provides insight into things like rework, deprioritization, block ratings, unplanned work. It categorizes your work into the 4 categories of work so you can understand how work is moving through your organization. And this is from a tracked work standpoint, right? I can't really include email, Slack, or meetings yet. So first things first, what I'm going to do is walk through how simple an integration is. We're going to connect to Trello, and then we're going to connect to Jira as well. And then you'll start to see some data being populated into the system, as there isn't any right now because I haven't connected anything. And then we can start to walk through some of the different, the dashboard, the workflow, and flow health, as all of these are going to be important. So without further ado, let's kick it off with an integration. So we're going to go to connect our first tool and Trello. And here you're going to find instructions for how to do your integration. And so you can quickly see that the Trello integration is more about a power up rather than connecting an API or anything. So there isn't much more to do on this screen. So we're going to go straight to our Trello board. We're going to click the Riplane button power up right here. You'll have to ignore for in the incognito mode, none of my images are showing. I've already connected it. You'll just sign in to your Riplane account here. For demo purposes, we're just kind of going through, once you've signed in, what it will do. So it's going to select which account I'm going to connect to. So Riplane demo, that's the workspace, and it's going to load. And it's going to say, hey, this has been authorized. Great. So we're going to click to which column on this board does work begin in, right? So it begins in to do. The backlog is still meaning that it's sitting there, right? I don't want to track this as tasks that are in the to do. And then which column is done, that's going to be done. And then that way it tracks the work and the states between, as well as when it moves to other things. So we're going to go ahead and click review. This tells me, just gives me one last check. I'm going to click connect board, and we're done. That's it. So we're going to go back, and what we should see here is a Trello board connection. Boom, there we go. We're going to go to our dashboard, and right now it hasn't pulled anything yet. Give it some time. Okay, so now I'm going to walk you through how to connect to Jira. So the first thing you're going to do is click connect. You're going to click Jira here. You can go ahead and watch or click this for a guide onto how to connect it. It will have the required scopes if you want to do the more restricted API token. If you just do the classic, it's really easy, and that's what I'm going to be doing here. So we're going to go here. I'm going to paste in my token, and then we're going to grab my Atlassian.net URL. We're going to hit test connection. Great. Everything looks good. So we're going to move to the next thing. I'm going to import my board. And then the first thing I'm going to do is my start column to do. And my done column is done. It's going to reorganize everything for me. Idea is going to be before to do, so I'm just going to move it up to a 0. And that is going to reflect my workflow. So I'm going to hit continue. It does my review and connect. We're going to connect the integration, and done. So here you can see the integration already done here, and your dashboard, it won't have data right away. It needs some time to pull. So let's go ahead and connect it to GitHub. So you're going to go in here, and same kind of deal, right? You can click here. It's going to tell you what the different options are. It's going to recommend classic token. It's just always faster. And then I'm going to go to GitHub, and I'm going to generate a new token. I'll just do classic for speed. Boop, test connection. Great. We're going to go in here. We'll just click one. Right, and same kind of deal. So we're going to do ready as my start, done as my done, and backlog is going to be a status above ready. Click that, review, and done. And so here we can see my GitHub project is in here, and my Jira project's here. And that's how easy it is to connect. So once you get your project boards connected and the data starts to come in, keep in mind it can take several minutes as it has to pull through, get things in, and then start analyzing. You'll start to see something like this. As your tasks get completed, you'll start to see the average completion time, the total completed, what your workflow health is like, and then as well as a complexity mix. And so this is just a nice kind of like double checker to see what your complexity of tasks are. You'll get a work type distribution showing like value creating, right? This is like planned business projects, that kind of stuff, capability building. These are more like finding new things that are more internal projects, right? That help your team improve what they can do. Flow sustaining is more like updates to things that are already existing, just kind of like keeping things up to date. And then disruptive tasks are things like unplanned work, fire drills, rework, that kind of stuff. And uncategorized as if the system cannot figure out what to do. So this one should always be 0. It'll start to break down like member velocity, how much they're doing, what percentage of completion tasks involve rework, as well as you'll see your active tracker. So then let's go down here and you can start to see your breakdown of tasks in more detail. So if I click into value creating, right, I can start to see, oh, here's how my trend is for work that's being done in terms of value creation and how much of it is considered unplanned. So an unplanned value creation task would be like part of maybe a planned business project where you have a little bit of scope creep or something like that. That is a feature, but it's injected into what you're doing rather than kind of moving through the standard process. So if this is just like a card that's created that's thrown into in progress rather than going through backlog grooming or anything like that, it's considered unplanned. And the reason we do that is just to kind of track things that may seem like it's a planned or value creating business task, because it is, but it's been injected in a way that can disrupt and interrupt other things. So we kind of have that breakdown here. You can see this. Now you can go into each one and it will give you a similar breakdown of what's going on, your daily trends. Flow health is going to be where things are really interesting. So this is going to be showing your rework rate, your block rate, and your deprioritization rate. And so here I've gone through and did some rework as well as deprioritized some tasks. And you can see that these start to rise based on the number of tasks that I have active out there. And this is a great way to start getting understanding of how much time and pressure you're putting on things like QA or having these review meetings for projects that should ideally be like one review and done, or there's like one iteration of change. It depends on the complexity of the project, but you can start to see patterns here, right? If you have a lot of rework going back and forth, then it's worth taking a look at where that's coming from, because that could come from the person who is accepting the work. They could just have a lot of minute preferences and that causes a lot of rework, or it could be the person delivering it. But regardless, this allows you to create conversations around that. Deprioritization rate is basically how much something was in progress and then deprioritized and kicked out. And that's important to understand, because that's time spent on something that you're not going to, it's not going to see the light of day, at least immediately. And so these are the main features of Riplane right now that allow you to kind of understand what's going on. Teams is a great way to set up individual teams so that when you're back on your dashboard, your workflow, etc., you can select a team from here. You can also select like specific board views. And this will give you insight into how that board's doing. Your organization is your everything, right? Your teams will show up here as well, where you go into here and you'll see your different teams. So if I were to create, for instance, let's just call it a Jira team, right? And then we can click into that team and I'll add myself because I'm the only person here. and go back. And when we go to Jira team here, it's going to organize this based off of just me, and so that team right there. That's a fantastic way to do that. Your integrations are here, and then your settings are here where you can invite people, you can select the link to the member. So an external identity is someone who's on part of your board, but not necessarily tied to any organization member. And so I don't have it here, even though you can see me tracked in the dashboard. If we get down here, you can see Kevin, is because it automatically detected that that's me based off of emails. And so you don't have to sync all of these. But it's a good idea to double check just in case the system cannot find who you are there. And so that's the main version of Riplane as it is right now. Some cool things that are on the horizon are more connections. I'm going to be connecting to Linear, Asana, and Miro, not necessarily in that order. And the connection to Miro, as you might suggest, will involve some sort of timeline updating based on this complexity mix, as well as expected completion time per individual. So when a task gets assigned to someone for a specific board based on the complexity and that individual's completion time, especially for tasks given that same complexity, it'll update your timeline for you on that front. And so the idea here is, instead of us having all these conversations and spending all this time about when we think something is going to be delivered, you can just focus on work and let Riplane take care of that conversation for you. And so then you just have this data that then you can present to management, leadership, etc., where you didn't need to spend 15 minutes in a meeting arguing about whether something will take this time or not, because you have the data to actually back it up. And that's the main goal here, is so that way you can focus on work, you can streamline it, you can get that improvement, and still have your administrative data to show to management. So if you guys are interested, wait list is still open. I will be accepting a few more testers for this. It's really exciting to get in, and that's a great way to start providing feedback to the system as to what's really important to you and help get your workflow integrated into Riplane.